I will share secret travel tips for Cuba with you today. My name is Fidel, and I know the Caribbean island well. If you are planning a trip to this fascinating country, you're in the right place to make the most of your Cuba adventure. Cuba is a warm and safe travel destination. The form of government in Cuba is communism, but don't let that deter you. The most beautiful beaches are located in Varadero, a peninsula with a variety of hotels. You experience the real Cuban life in Havana, the capital of the country. Entry to Cuba is very good. Cuba is accessible for German citizens with a passport. A visa must also be obtained for €25. It is advisable to bring items such as toothpaste, sunscreen, and medications, as well as other tourist necessities, since it can be difficult and expensive to obtain certain products in Cuba due to the American embargo, especially if one does not speak Spanish. It is recommended to bring old clothes and either leave them at the hotel or neatly place them on the street, as everything in Cuba finds a new use. No one has to go hungry in Cuba, and the healthcare system is free for locals. Nevertheless, it is important to obtain health insurance and travel evacuation insurance for your visit. It is advisable to bring cash in euros, as credit cards are increasingly accepted on the island, but cash remains the safest option. When using credit cards, additional taxes may apply as they are processed through US banks. There will also be situations in Cuba where tourists are somewhat taken advantage of by locals. It is important to be aware of these possible scenarios and to take appropriate precautions. Here are some points you can consider. Learn about the usual prices and negotiation practices to better assess whether you are being offered an inflated price. Be cautious of strangers who offer unsolicited city tours or want to accompany you. It is advisable. Choose official tour guides or established tourists to avoid misunderstandings and unexpected costs. Note that it is illegal to offer or engage in sexual services in Cuba. These activities can have legal consequences, and you should decline such offers. It is often advisable to clarify travel arrangements in advance and to negotiate in order to achieve fair deals. Always keep your belongings in sight and be cautious in crowded places or tourist areas to avoid pickpocketing. It is advisable to use only licensed taxis or official transport services to avoid inflated prices or fake taxis. Learn about cultural and social norms to avoid misunderstandings and interact respectfully with the locals. Remember that not all locals have fraudulent intentions. The majority of the Cuban population is warm and hospitable. By staying well informed, being attentive, and treating people with respect, you can have a pleasant and authentic experience in Cuba. You should use a travel set to secure valuables in the hotel. It is a good way to avoid thefts and ensure additional safety during the trip. I will link the video to you at the end of this video. If you need assistance planning your trip, I am happy to help you. Visit my website survivaltraining.de to get my assistance. Flights to Cuba usually cost between €700 and €1,000. Depending on the travel time, the airline, the departure location, and other factors, it is advisable to compare flight offers from different providers and to book early. Here is my announced video on travel safety.